People who are or have been in the foster system, what would you say to someone who is considering becoming a foster parent? Regardless of how long the kid stays with you, they will remember how you treat them. Be patient, many may not understand what is happening at first. Most will be angry, but even if they upset you, don't let it show. I still to this day hold mad resentment for the second foster family I was with because they made it clear they only wanted me for the tax write-off and whatever money they got out of it, and treated me worse than the doormats on their front door. And that was like 24-ish years ago. Also, robbed me of many of the childhood experiences I should have had. Neither I nor the adopted kid in that house were allowed to do anything after school. It was wake up, go to school, straight home, do homework, do chores, dinner, more chores, go to bed. I'm so glad it was only a few months. Brah, I feel that. My sister and I were in only one home, but it was such a culture shock. The lady that took care of us was polite but very strict, and to be honest, one old woman, unsure of exact but more than 50, her helper, and I want to say 13 juvenile children, one at 18 and a 26-year-old special needs man. I mean, either she was trying to make up for a wrong that she did when she was younger, it was an act for just the money, I don't think so but still possible, or she was truly a living saint. Honestly though, while I don't have any what I would call happy memories from my time there, I don't feel I was mistreated. I'm sorry that your experience was bad though, as I know exactly what you mean and everything, but being told anything as bad as what you were. It may mean nothing from a stranger, but I'm sorry you had to go through that, especially when I'm guessing everything was more confusing than ever. But that part may be me protecting, and if I offend, I apologize. This might be a weird question, but did your experience give you a bad opinion of social workers? It did for me for the longest time, and I've never been able to ask anyone. This might be a weird question, but did your experience give you a bad opinion of social workers? It did for me for the longest time, and I've never been able to ask anyone. Yes. Very yes. This is going to be a novel, I'm sorry. My parents already had a social worker up in their business because my mom had just gotten over a stint of being homeless. My parents decided to separate, and they lost the apartment they were in, and we had to live in a shelter for a few months where it was not fun. I actually came back from school a little beaten up because I took a nice tumble off a play structure, and I guess one of the staff called child services on us because they suspected abuse. That's actually how I ended up in a foster home the first time. Social worker dug up dirt on my mom from many years ago, drug charges and such, but she was very clean by the time this all went down, and used that to argue my mom was unfit to be a parent, and I was taken away. Eventually it got overturned. So during all this time, I'm T1 diabetic. I'm stressed to crap. Blood sugars a bouncin'. I end up in the hospital. Due to the children's ward being close to capacity, they release me too early. I relapse. Back to the hospital. They do the same thing again. On the third time, this social worker with a harden for effing us over decides she's going to step in and again have me taken away, using the excessive hospital visits as justification. Both my parents are livid because they just fought this bitch off. What's more, my doctor would have easily been able to step in and defend me on this, but he was out on vacation. That's where this starts to become a multi-layer cluster of, because it turned out the doctor assigned to me while my doctor was on extended vacation was in cahoots with a social worker and also really didn't like my parents. They dealt with her before. Sigh, that's how this all got out of hand. So I got assigned to the abusive foster family. Oh, what fun, and they started effing with me too. They somehow got wind of when my parents had to show for court, so they'd schedule my doctor's appointments on those days so my parents couldn't show up. My parents outplayed them by convincing the court to let one of them go to the appointment and the other to show up at court. Worse yet, the foster family. I caught them taking blood sugar readings on my meter in an effort to convince the social worker that I was doing much better with her. I wasn't. She also convinced them not to do an A1C reading, which would have easily proven the meter's readings were faked. Thankfully, as per the court, they actually got a hold of my real doctor on vacation to get a statement, and he about flipped every table within arm's reach when he found out what happened. He came back early, dude was a boss, ordered an immediate A1C, saw it was well over 12, that's very, very bad, and the court overturned everything and the social worker got in deep crap, as did the temp doc. Not sure what happened to the foster family, but my doctor pulled me in for questioning and took down everything that transpired while I was under their care, and he said he would deal with them. If there was a silver lining to all this, it's that my parents realized that crap is getting real with the multi-layer cluster of here and this while event brought them back together over a unified goal. But since then, I have been morbidly afraid of the system. Even though I'm 30-something now. That doctor was a champion and a hero. My gosh, coming back from vacation. Did you stay in touch with him? If you are considering becoming a foster parent, you should spend some time networking with people that are already foster parents. These are people that you will turn to for respite care or might be seeing on a regular basis if family members are split up between different homes. Do not presume that the county will be there to cover every expense. Raising children is not cheap, and even with social services providing basic levels of support, there are a lot of things you'll need to cover out of your own pocket. That said, there are a lot of programs, activities, and benefits for children in the system so long as you know where to look. Be prepared to spend a lot of time at the doctor/dentist/therapist. Many of these kids come from homes where healthcare was unavailable or ignored. The time spent in foster homes is often the only chance they'll have as children to be properly cared for and receive any treatment they need. Don't be surprised if the children initially show a fear of going, and be patient when dealing with them. There are good and bad social workers. The worst tend to be both the youngest and the oldest. They are the ones who are filled with visions of changing the system and see every parent that isn't perfect as being irresponsible or abusive, or they have too much time in the system and have burned out any sense of empathy they may have once had for anyone. Regardless of what social workers you deal with, never take their word for what a child is like or how they behave. Spend time with the kid and make your own observations and judgments. Finally, treat the kids like you'd like your own kids to be treated if they were living in a different home. Be empathic, but don't let yourself be treated as a punching bag. Make sure your rules are clear and easy to understand, as well as what the consequences would be for breaking those rules. Allow for enough freedom so no one feels like they are living in a prison. I'm a parent, but I've always had trouble making rules. Usually it's like, oof, let's not do that ever again. What rules did you have? I was in the foster system when I was 8 to 9 due to severe abuse and dangerous living conditions. I was raised in a trap house near Oakland, California, with 6 siblings. I was placed with 3 families. Family number 1, placed with little brother. Nonverbal because of trauma. Wet the bed every night. The family put us in a room with 4 bunk beds. The foster parents would scream at him and hit him every time he wet the bed. When I told our social worker, we were removed. Bedwetting is a common trauma response, and being removed from your family, even if they are abusive, is traumatic. It is compounding trauma. Nonverbal behavior is also a trauma response. Don't try to fix it, love regardless. Always be patient. Family number 2, I am guessing they were realtors of some sort. It was only me placed in this home at this time. They had this empty house with a room west/a bathroom that had the door handle lock on the outside. They would lock a few other foster kids and me in this room with a bunch of snacks, drinks, and Lunchables. We would be locked in this room for 8 hours every day while they were at work. I still remember the Power Rangers, Revenge of Dr. Ooze or something like that, vividly. We watched it on repeat all day. All the kids fought all day. It's a wonder we didn't get seriously injured. If you do not have time, or childcare plans, then do not foster. Foster kids take a considerable amount of resources. Family number 3, I was placed on my own again. They were great. They included me in all their family events and their house was super nice. They were very nice and hired a nanny to take care of me. They were so nice that I was horrified of them abandoning me like my other family, so I acted out and broke a bunch of things. They never gave up no matter how terrible I was. Don't give up. Chances are, a foster child will feel that there is nothing good about them, and, if you are great, they will feel fear that they will naturally ruin their placement. Rather than facing the shame of who they are passively ruining the placement, they may actively sabotage. So, even if you are doing the best you can, they may sabotage. Press in, and buckle down for the long haul. Once I realized I couldn't hurt them, and they wouldn't give up, I chilled out. Do not allow yourself to grow angry, and tap out if you do. Have a plan for how you will react. Imagine the worst realistic thing that can happen, And if you cannot work through how to protect against, or respond to that hypothetical in your mind, do not foster. We fostered for a couple of years. It's a tough go but can also be rewarding. Here are some things we learned. 1. I'm not sure what state you're in, but here in California there are private agencies, FFAs, that act as a buffer with the county. They were very helpful to us. They helped us understand a lot of procedural stuff that is just weird/nonsensical with the system. 2. You'll get frustrated with the system a lot. You won't agree with decisions made by social workers and judges. Keep fighting for what's best for the kids. You see them every day and know what they need. 3. The system is designed to reunify families as its first goal. If you are in it to adopt, you will have conflicting priorities. If you're not, you should keep in mind that in order for a successful reunification to happen, you really need to forge a relationship with the bio parents, and in a sense, foster them as well. Almost all parents who are part of the system probably should have been foster kids based on what they grew up with. Treat the kid as part of your family, but recognize the pain of a parent having their child taken away. Regardless of what they did, they are probably hurting. 4. Have lots of empathy for everyone involved. Put aside your judgments and listen. Figure out how you can best serve the kids. There is no magic pill that will help them. It takes time, therapy, patience, and a lot of empathy. 5. Focus on the process, not outcomes. Your role isn't to fix them, it's to advocate for their care. Sometimes things will work out how you think it should, but that's rare. You want to be able to look back at your time with each child and know you did everything you could to help them and be a positive light in their life. 6. Take care of yourself. You are not a superhero. If you don't remember self-care, mental, emotional, and physical, you will struggle. You cannot give from an empty cup, and foster kids will drain you. They are suffering from trauma and you will feel that. Don't ignore your needs or they will suffer more. I hope this helps. I know it's a lot, but I could probably write a book on it, and if you have any specific questions, feel free to message me. 3. The system is designed to reunify families as its first goal. If you are in it to adopt, you will have conflicting priorities. If you're not, you should keep in mind that in order for a successful reunification to happen, you really need to forge a relationship with the bio parents, and in a sense, foster them as well. A good friend of mine got into fostering as a gateway to adoption, and I don't think they quite understood that the system will do everything to keep kids with their parents. They had a couple kids early that were short stays. Then they ended up with a newborn that had a heroin addict mom that was going to long-term rehab/jail, so they really ended up bonding with the child, and really started to believe this was going to be their child. After about 9 months or so, the mom was released, and she immediately started getting supervised visitation, followed by unsupervised visitation, followed by mom getting custody back. They were absolutely devastated. They had got their hopes up that the mom was going to screw up, and they would get to keep the kids, and that didn't happen. Heart. Please remember that your foster kids are humans too, and potentially are coming from traumatic backgrounds. Have a lot of patience with them. Let them be themselves. Let them have fun. Don't load them up with chores like my second foster family did and make it such that they have no free time onto themselves. In my case, we were either at school, doing homework, or doing chores. We would get punished severely for even stepping a millimeter out of line. We weren't allowed to have our own possessions besides our school supplies and clothes. My parents' Christmas gifts got confiscated when I brought them back with me. When fostering, you should be making them feel at home, not like a prisoner, which is exactly how I felt. You're supposed to be getting them out of harm's way and making them feel safe, not feeling like they've been thrown in jail. Don't do it for the money. It makes you a female part. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.